This screen is not your mind. Your real universe is inside your head. Millions of neurons are firing, thoughts appear out of nowhere, memories pop up, and emotions rise and fall. And you are not alone. Animals all over the planet have their own inner worlds too, but they look completely different from yours. Your mind is made of about 86 billion neurons talking to each other in a network more complex than any city on Earth. When you imagine an apple, a car, a face, or a memory, your brain is running a simulation. Scientists now know that mental imagery uses almost the same brain areas as real seeing, so your brain can see things that are not really there. People experience this inner world in very different ways. Some people see bright, detailed images in their head. Others think more in words, feelings, or abstract ideas. Still others struggle to see anything at all. All of these are normal. Now, imagine going back in evolutionary time. Billions of years ago, life had no mind at all. A single-celled organism would sense heat, light, or chemicals and react instantly. No thinking, no pause, just a reflex. At some point, something new appeared. A gap between sensing the world and acting. Instead of reacting instantly, an animal could pause, process information, and choose what to do next. This gap is where the idea of mind began. Today, we start a journey through this inner universe of animals, from the simplest worm to the octopus with a brain in its arms, to the bird that hides food like a thief trying to outsmart other thieves, and finally, to the human mind that can imagine not just what someone else is thinking, but what that person is thinking about what you are thinking. Let's start with the roundworm, a tiny creature called C. elegans. It has only about 302 neurons in its whole body. For comparison, humans have about 86 billion. Even with this tiny brain, a roundworm can learn. If it touches something painful once, it can temporarily change its behavior to avoid it later. This is very basic memory and learning, not complex thinking, but still a sign of a small mind gap between sensing and acting. Now move to the honeybee. A bee has about 1 million neurons. That sounds small, but for a bee, it is a lot. Bees build mental maps of their environment. They use the sun to navigate, they remember landmarks, and they can find the shortest path between flowers. They don't just follow fixed rules, they actually plan and optimize routes. This shows that bees have some kind of internal model of the world, like a tiny GPS in their head. Think of it like this. No brain means reaction is instant. A simple brain, like in the roundworm, creates a very short delay and a tiny memory. A more complex brain, like in a bee, starts building maps and planning shortcuts. This growing mind gap is where evolution began to experiment with different kinds of minds. Now, meet the octopus. It has about 500 million neurons, more than many mammals, and close to the brain size of a dog. But its intelligence feels alien by human standards. The wild part is this. Only about 40% of its neurons are in its central brain. The rest are spread through its 8 arms. Each arm can taste, touch, and move almost independently. An arm can explore a new object, decide if it is interesting, and even change its grip without waiting for orders from the head. Some scientists describe this as a kind of distributed mind, a brain that is partly in the body itself. This shows that mind is not just one design. There are many possible ways for a nervous system to become smart. The octopus proves that complex minds can evolve in bodies that look nothing like vertebrates. And consciousness might not have to look like the human kind. Let's jump to the scrub jay, a bird with a brain the size of a pea but packed with billions of neurons. Scrub jays are famous for hiding food. They put worms, nuts, or seeds in different places and remember where they put them. But they don't just store food, they track time. If they hide worms, they roughly know when those worms will start to spoil, and they prefer to eat them before they rot. This is a kind of mental time travel. They simulate the future and plan ahead. Here comes the surprising part. If a scrub jay hides food while another bird is watching, it will remember that it was watched. Later, when it is alone, it often goes back and rehides the food in a new place. In other words, it doesn't just plan for the future. It also thinks about what other birds might know and might do. Scientists call this a primitive form of mind reading. The bird seems to think, I hid this worm. Another bird saw me. That bird might come back and steal it, so I should hide it again somewhere else. Human minds take this same idea and run with it. We don't just think about what others are thinking, we think about what others are thinking about us. This layered thinking is one of the keys to human morality, guilt, shame, and social rules. The human mind is unique not only because it has more neurons, though it does, but because of what we do with them. We build massive internal simulations. We replay the past. We imagine possible futures. We create fictional worlds, characters, and entire stories. By sharing these simulations through stories, myths, religions, laws, and media, we turn our private minds into shared minds. Your mind is shaped not only by biology, but also by thousands of years of human culture, language, and stories told long before you were born. Here are a few quick science facts you might find interesting. When you imagine an action, like throwing a ball, your brain activates almost the same areas as when you actually do it. That's why mental practice improves performance in sports and music. Human intelligence grew fastest when early humans started living in larger, more complex groups. This pushed the brain to become better at trust, deception, and cooperation. And symbolic thinking, like art, jewelry, and complex tools, appeared roughly 100,000 to 50,000 years ago. This period is linked to the rise of modern-style human minds. Your mind is not just a biological machine. It is a social invention, built by evolution, shaped by culture, and expressed through stories, art, and conversation. So, the next time you daydream, imagine a future, or tell a story to a friend, remember, you are not just thinking, you are participating in one of the strangest, most powerful experiments in the universe, the evolution of mind. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more deep dives into the brain and behavior, and drop a comment telling me which animal's mind you find most fascinating: worm, bee, octopus, bird, or human. I'll see you in the next video, where we explore how your mind tricks you with illusions, memories, and fake realities.